The desert at night does not welcome strangers. It whispers, it breathes, it watches. Long stretches of sand glow faintly under the silver moonlight, while jagged rocks cast shadows like broken teeth. Somewhere in that vast emptiness lies a place most maps no longer mark. A forgotten town, once alive during the gold rush, now rotting under the relentless sun. People say the Wild West left behind not just bones and dust, but stories. Stories of miners who vanished without a trace, of towns swallowed by silence, of ghostly figures that wander abandoned streets. Some call them legends, others swear they're warnings. It is here, beyond the highways and tourist stops, where a lone traveler named Claire finds herself one summer evening. She isn't looking for treasure. She isn't even looking for ghosts. She only wants to escape her life for a while, to drive until the noise of the modern world fades behind her. But the desert has its own plans. Her car rattles along a cracked, forgotten road, headlights cutting through the dark. The GPS has long since lost signal, and the only sound is the low hum of the engine and the restless wind. Miles behind her lies the last gas station, where an old man had muttered a warning in a voice too low to be casual. "Don't follow the old mining road," he had said. "There's nothing but ghosts down there." Claire had laughed it off. Ghosts were stories for late-night campfires. Not something that could touch her. But when she spotted the weathered wooden sign half buried in sand, its letters barely legible, curiosity pulled at her. Dry Creek, 7 miles. She doesn't know why, but she turns. The headlights reveal the outline of the town as she approaches. Dry Creek. A scattering of buildings slouched against the desert wind, their roofs sagging, windows hollow like black eyes. The air feels heavier here, as though the land itself holds its breath. She parks at the edge of Main Street. Silence greets her. Not the peaceful kind, but the suffocating quiet that makes the skin prickle. Dust swirls lazily across the ground, and an old saloon sign creaks on rusted chains. Claire steps out of the car. The air is warmer here, thick with the scent of dry wood and rust. She tells herself she'll only stay for a moment, just long enough to take a look, just long enough to prove the stories are nothing more than myths. The saloon's double doors swing at the faintest touch, groaning as though resisting her entry. Inside, shadows cling to every corner. The floorboards moan under her steps, and cobwebs hang like funeral drapes. A bar stretches across the far wall, its shelves empty except for a single glass coated in dust. But what makes her pause is the piano. An upright piano, yellowed keys cracked with age. One of the keys is pressed down slightly, as if someone has just touched it. The air shifts. A faint note echoes, not from her imagination, not from memory, but from the piano itself. One single trembling sound that fades too quickly. Claire freezes. Her heart pounds. She waits for another note, but none comes. Just the wind, she whispers to herself. But the wind doesn't play pianos. She backs out of the saloon and into the street, trying to shake off the unease. But as she steps outside, the atmosphere feels different. The air cooler, the silence heavier. For a moment, she swears she sees movement at the end of the street. A shadow, quick and fleeting, slipping between buildings. Her rational mind insists it's nothing. But another part of her, the primal, ancient part, knows when she is being watched. The wooden facades seem taller now, leaning in, pressing closer. The town isn't abandoned. Not truly. It's waiting. Claire doesn't know if she should turn back to her car or take another step forward. But either way, she realizes something chilling. She is not alone in Dry Creek. Claire forces herself to move deeper into the town, curiosity dragging her forward like invisible strings. She passes a collapsed church steeple, a leaning general store, and then spots the blacksmith shop. Its wide entrance yawns open, and inside, the forge still holds the faint smell of soot, as though it hasn't cooled in 100 years. Rusty tools hang neatly on the walls, their edges glinting faintly in the moonlight. A horseshoe lies in the center of the dirt floor, perfectly upright, as if placed there deliberately. She crouches to pick it up, but a sudden clang echoes behind her, metal against metal. Claire spins around, heart hammering, but the shop is empty. The tools hang motionless. The silence returns. And then she notices something carved into the wall. Letters scratched deep into the wood, nearly erased by time. "Don't let them see you at night." Her throat tightens. Who wrote it? And who were they? A small wooden schoolhouse crouches at the far end of the street, its windows shattered, its door ajar. Claire steps inside, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Tiny desks sit in crooked rows, covered in dust, chalk scattered across the floor like bones. On the blackboard, faint words still linger. Arithmetic test, Friday. But over it, scrawled in uneven white strokes, is something else. The children never left. As if on cue, a faint giggle ripples through the air. Claire's blood runs cold. She whirls around, but no one is there. The sound is soft, almost playful, but it echoes too long, stretching unnaturally. Her flashlight flickers, and for a split second, she thinks she sees tiny silhouettes lined against the back wall. Small, still, watching. But when the light steadies, the wall is empty. She stumbles back, nearly tripping over a desk, and bolts out of the schoolhouse into the street. Breathless, Claire tries to convince herself to leave. But when she turns toward her car, she freezes. A figure stands beside it. He is tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a ragged coat and wide-brimmed hat that hides his face. He doesn't move, doesn't speak, just stands there, as though waiting for her. Claire's pulse roars in her ears. She takes a cautious step forward. "Hello? Are you real?" The man tilts his head slowly, unnervingly. His hand lifts, pointing, not at her, but at the town behind her. And then, as quickly as he appeared, he is gone. The space beside the car is empty. No trace of footsteps in the sand. Shaken, Claire retreats into the nearest building, the sheriff's office. Dust blankets the desks and rusty bars line the cells. She rummages through drawers until her fingers brush against leather, an old journal, its cover cracked and fragile. She flips it open, squinting at the faded ink. The entries belong to Sheriff Elias Crow, dated 1872. Miners gone missing. Claims the earth swallowed them whole. Townfolk restless. Strange lights over the desert at night. I cannot explain it. She slips further. The children fell ill. Fever spread quick. But when the preacher prayed, it only grew worse. They said the town was cursed. I start to believe them. The final entry makes her skin crawl. If anyone reads this, leave Dry Creek. Don't listen to the voices. Don't follow the lights. Don't stay after sundown. A creak shudders through the sheriff's office. Claire looks up. The cell door at the far end swings open by itself. And then she hears it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, dragging across the wooden floor. They echo closer, though she sees no one. Her flashlight shakes in her hand. She backs away, heart hammering, until she feels the cold bars press against her back. "Who's there?" she whispers, her voice trembling. The footsteps stop. Silence presses in, and then, directly behind her ear, comes a rasping breath, hot and real. Claire screams and bolts out into the night. The town is awake now, and it knows she's here. Claire runs until her lungs burn, stopping only when she collapses against the crumbling steps of the old church. The bell tower looms above her, its silhouette jagged against the moon. She forces herself inside. The church smells of rot and ash, though the pews remain neatly aligned, as if waiting for a congregation that never came. A cracked Bible rests on the altar, its pages stiff with age. Above her, the bell stirs. A low groan of metal drifts down the tower. Claire tilts her head back just in time to see the massive bell sway. Once, twice, before a sound erupts that shakes the floorboards. The bell tolls. A deep, mournful note that should not be possible. Not after a century of silence. And with it, the town awakens. The street outside fills with movement. Claire peeks through the doorway, her breath catching. Figures, dozens of them, emerge from the shadows. Men in dusty mining clothes, women in torn dresses, children clutching dolls and books. They walk slowly, stiffly, their faces pale and hollow. Their eyes glow faintly, like dying embers. They move in unison, a silent procession down Main Street. Claire presses herself against the doorframe, praying they don't see her. But as the crowd passes, one figure stops. A woman in a tattered bonnet turns her head, her empty eyes locking directly onto Claire. The woman raises a finger to her lips, hissing softly. "Shh!" Claire's blood runs cold. She flees toward the edge of town, her flashlight bouncing wildly. That's when she sees it. The cemetery. Wooden crosses tilt at odd angles, half buried in sand. Some graves gape open, coffins exposed, though they are all empty. At the center stands a stone monument, weathered but still legible, in memory of the souls of Dry Creek, taken before their time. Claire kneels to read the names carved into the stone, but as her fingers trace the letters, the air chills. A whisper threads through the night. "Help us." She jerks back. The whisper grows louder, overlapping voices, men and women. She bursts into the sheriff's office again, desperate for answers. The journal lies where she left it, open on the desk. But something new catches her eye. A figure sitting in the cell. The sheriff himself, or what remains of him. His body is gaunt, his uniform shredded, his eyes two black pits, yet his voice when it comes is low and gravelly. "You shouldn't be here." Claire grips the bars, trembling. What happened to this town? What do they want? The sheriff leans forward, chains rattling around his wrists. They want what was taken. They want release. But the town won't let them go. Not until the curse is broken. "What curse?" she whispers. The sheriff's head tilts unnaturally, bones cracking. "You'll find out when it chooses you." And then he vanishes. The cell is empty, chains clattering to the floor. Outside, the night is alive. Doors slam, windows rattle, voices whisper in overlapping tones. Claire clutches the journal, scanning the final page again. Don't listen to the voices. Don't follow the lights. Don't stay after sundown. But it's already far past sundown, and the voices are everywhere. She stumbles back into the street, torn between running for her car or diving deeper into the town to find answers. Something tells her If she leaves now, she'll never escape the shadows following her. The wind howls, carrying a faint, melodic sound. The piano, the same note she heard in the saloon. It calls to her, persistent, beckoning. Her choice is made. Against all reason, Claire turns toward the saloon once more, and the town follows. The saloon looms ahead, its doors swaying as though breathing. Claire forces herself inside. The piano waits in the corner, silent, yet the air vibrates with a tune too faint for human ears. She approaches cautiously, the sheriff's journal clutched tight. Dust swirls around her feet as she lays a trembling hand on the piano. The keys depress on their own. 1, 2, 3. A melody begins, haunting, broken, the kind of song a town might play at its own funeral. The walls groan. Shadows lengthen, and then she sees them, ghostly figures filling the saloon, sitting at tables, glasses in hand, as if frozen in time. Their heads turn toward her in unison. Claire backs away, but their voices rise in a whisper. Stay with us. Finish what we started. The journal slips from her hand, flipping open to a page she hadn't noticed before. Scribbled notes in the sheriff's handwriting mention the preacher, the one who brought salvation, or so he claimed. He led us in prayer, said he could lift the curse, but every word he spoke bound us tighter. His God was not ours. Claire's breath catches. The curse didn't come from disease or famine. It came from him. And as if summoned by her realization, the saloon doors slam shut. A tall, skeletal figure in a preacher's coat steps forward from the shadows, his face hidden by the brim of his hat. His voice rolls like thunder. They prayed to me, and I answered. The preacher raises his hand, and the ground trembles. Ghostly townsfolk flood the saloon, their hollow eyes fixed on Claire. They circle her slowly, murmuring in broken tones. Claire holds her ground, clutching the journal like a shield. What do you want from me? The preacher's smile splits his face, unnatural and wide. To keep the town alive, someone must carry the curse. Someone must stay. The townsfolk echo the word, chanting softly, stay, stay, stay. Her chest tightens. She realizes now, every traveler who wandered into Dry Creek became part of it. That's why the graves were empty. That's why the sheriff still lingered. The town feeds on the living. But Claire refuses. She shouts above the voices, tearing the sheriff's journal in half, scattering its pages across the floor. The ghosts wail as if struck. The preacher staggers, his form flickering like smoke. The saloon trembles, glasses shattering, windows bursting. Claire seizes her chance, sprinting through the chaos. She crashes out the doors, racing down Main Street as the town collapses around her. Buildings sinking, shadows twisting, voices screaming her name. She reaches her car, fumbling with the keys, and the engine roars to life. Tires spin, dirt flies, and she speeds down the forgotten road, leaving Dry Creek in ruins behind her. Hours later, dawn paints the desert in pale gold. Claire pulls over, shaking, tears streaking her face. She stares back toward the horizon, where nothing remains but sand and silence. She survived, or so she thinks. As she exhales, her car radio crackles. At first, it's static. Then, faintly, unmistakably, the sound of a piano playing, the same haunting tune. Her eyes widen. The desert is silent, the road is empty, but the song continues, steady and soft, as if following her. And then, through the static, a whisper threads through the speaker, chilling her blood. You left, but you belong to us now. Claire slams the radio off, but the silence that follows feels worse. Much worse. Because in the reflection of her rear view mirror, just for an instant, she sees the town of Dry Creek. Alive, bustling, filled with people, where the desert should be. She blinks, and it's gone. But deep down, she knows the truth. You never really leave Dry Creek.